Yes, Benchwarmers, welcome back. Episode 18 of the Ressies. I'm here with Checkers, but no Srey.
No Srey. He's gone missing. He's missing in action. MIA. We get asked a lot. We've been getting asked a lot all week. Where is Srey? Jake Fraser-McGurk asked me during the week. A few Stars players asked last night at the BBL, where is Srey? And I can't tell you. I honestly can't tell you. I haven't seen him. He hasn't been at home. He hasn't been sleeping at home. He hasn't been eating at home. And he's not in the podcast today. He's missing. But we have a replacement.
There is a replacement here sitting in Srey's seat. And it's none other than Andy Munro.
Thank you, boys.
Welcome,
Thanks for having me. Very good.
Collector. I've got in the run sheet here, my very first title is Checkers' first TikTok idol. And I think I might have told Andy this story, but Andy was the man who got me onto TikTok. I didn't have the app. I never had the app. And I'd probably been out for years, and I kept getting sent your TikToks, Andy. People keep sending them to my inbox saying, this guy you would love. Because I love footy nostalgia. I love footy from the 90s, early 2000s. Old names like Fraser Gehrig, Matty Primus, all the vintage of AFL football, which is actually, for a lot of people, is actually the modern day football. But Andy is the man. He knows about this. And this is going to be a very good podcast because he's going to be telling us all about the stuff I love. I'm going to be excited. I'm going to listen back to this podcast so many times.
If you love your throwback footy, you're going to love Andy Munro. He does all things from footy grounds to highlights from the 90s and 2000s. And most of all, his Guernsey collection. That collection is massive. And we're going to get straight into it.
It might be the biggest Guernsey collection in Australia. Andy, we're going to kick off with the Guernsey collection. Where did the passion for Guernsey start? How many have you got in the collection?
If I had to count, depends what I count as my collection. But if I had to count, it'd be around 500 of just footy. I do collect other sports a little bit, but yeah, footy is probably one of the bigger collections. There's some with like more expensive collections than me, maybe, but yeah, I have a lot of quantity at least.
What I love about your collection, though, is there's such a diverse range from your collection, and the niche that you've gone to, say from a very rare training Guernsey that was worn twice on the track to NPL kits that have seen the light of day maybe one season. And that's what I love about when I tune into Mail Day Fridays and there's just something different on the track. Are you with me on that one?
I'm with him on that, but I feel like we should set the base for the listeners who don't know Andy. Majority of the collection is Australian rules football Guernseys.
Mostly football.
Yeah.
Player issue, match worn, not just retails that you get from the shop, from the Crowmania or whatever.
No.
We're talking, you're collecting Guernseys that players have worn in games.
Yeah, player shoes, hopefully match worn, but yeah, training worn, anything like that. Anything that's worn is always going to be more collectible, so that's what I'm really into. Something that's going to be worth more value than just your regular retail you get at the shop.
So we talked about your match worns and your player worns. What I want to know is, how did you sort of teach yourself about figuring out different parts of the match worn and the player issues, and how did that sort of like pique your interest?
I've always been pretty massive into footy jumpers just from a young age. Footyjumpers.com is probably my most visited website. Even when I was young, used to make my own footy jumpers off there and stuff. So I always knew about jumpers. Wasn't until I sort of got in collecting, I started with a bit of soccer, and then I thought I should get some footy jumpers. Starting getting a few Crows ones, especially when the Crows unfortunately lost the grand final in 2017. I was going to buy heaps of merch, and I thought I'll buy something else instead. I'll buy some jumpers. So I got into that. Just research. There's heaps of Facebook groups. I was helped out by a lot of the older collectors that were around for a bit longer than me. And then I've been able to help the younger ones since, which is really good.
You started a bit of a network through TikTok as well. So you talk about these older collectors maybe using online forums, Big Footy. I've seen a lot of Guernsey posts in, and probably some other websites out there. But you've started putting it on TikTok, which has brought a new age of young collectors into the game.
Yeah, I guess TikTok was the big thing at the time, and there wasn't much footy content at all, yellow footy jumper content, so it was always going to stand out. And I guess I like bringing the older stuff, the history, to the newer social media networks, because there's not a lot on there, so you just stand out.
What do we look for in a player issue match worn jumper? I know some of the terms. I'm going to list the ones I know: the GPS pocket, how the numbers are ironed on, maybe some of the stitching. And in your videos, you go into great depth showing why this could be a player issue, why it could be a match worn, why it might not be a match worn, and you know all the tricks of the trade.
Yeah.
What are some of the things that you've taught yourself along the way or learnt for collectors out there that maybe want to get into it?
So anything from the last probably 10, 12 years will have a GPS pocket, and you'll be able to see that from the outside, the stitching on the back of the jumper. You're looking for sublimated numbers, so that's printed in the fabric, not just stuck on like you get at Rebel or your club store. It's printed in the fabric, and they're often larger, so they will stand out and printed in the fabric. So they're a lot nicer as well. The material, and especially in the last 10 years as well, it's a little way better. Usually quite tight but stretchy. So it's really good for the players to wear. And I really like the difference between the retails because it just makes it way more worth collecting. We're really lucky in footy it's like that because I collect weights, soccer and even cricket. Like, there's not much difference, but in footy there's heaps of difference between what you buy at the shop and what the players wear, which makes it so much more fun to collect.
Maybe it adds that fun element, and that's why I get attracted to your videos. And people were sending me to me early days, and like, this guy knows the difference. And general punter probably doesn't know the difference. If I went up to all the crowd at the MCG, I reckon probably half of them would not know about the GPS pockets or the stitching, or looking for differences in the material, whether it's like a wetsuit type material. But you put that on TikTok, and now everyone's starting to learn it. So I'm learning it. I find myself collecting Guernseys. Where did it start? Like, when did you start picking them up? You said about 2017?
Yeah, so about 2017. I just wanted to go to a Crows game, and I saw like a cheap. I knew it was fake, but I bought a fake jumper on eBay, and it was like a 90s throwback. And I thought it would be cool to get a legit one, so I got a legit Puma one. Started getting a few other clubs as well. I was going to resell them. I thought, I'll keep them. And then I discovered the Facebook groups. And from there, it just went off because I was really inspired by a lot of the older collectors.
What are these Facebook groups for people? Because I'm hoping we get a few people listening that want to take up collecting after this episode. But the AFL Player Issue Match Worn,
AFL Player Issue Market is the go on Facebook. There's other Facebook groups like Footy Jumpers, but that's a main go. AFL Player Issue Market. There's heaps on there.
Where do you get majority of your Guernseys from? Is it eBay? Is it Marketplace, Gumtree, or the Facebook group?
Yeah, there's no one place. I'm lucky. This is why I do social media. I get a few little connections here and there. But club sales, eBay as well, Facebook groups, Facebook Marketplace. You got to be real quick on Facebook Marketplace. And I don't live in the city, so I can't pick it up. But there's other places. I'll give you a sneaky one. Depop. It's a little sneaky one for you. You might find a few on there. But it takes lots of searching for the most part. You do have club sales as well, but
there's a club sale going on right now. I know that you have an alarm set for it because at 6:00 tonight, Collingwood home and away Guernseys are on finish their auction. Have you got any bids on them?
I had a bit of a bid on a guy from Ovens and Murray League, but I can't forget his name now. But yeah, I had a bid on him, but we'll see how we go. Just a little low bid.
I did see you at the cricket last night scrolling through with your alarm set for club sales. You're quite on top of it, but I mean, you are the collector guy. Like, everyone expects it from Andy Munro, but for those who are starting out, these are the things you got to do. You got to be trolling those websites and eBay and keeping on top of the auctions, because that's where you can find some bargains.
I can tell you right now, Checkman's a little bit of a collector himself, but not as
Andy swung me back into it. He's got me up and about.
And the Collingwood sales, I've seen this man put a few bids on for a Nick Dacos.
If anyone wants to buy my car, I'm selling it as of next week, once this Nick Dacos Guernsey has to be paid for. So yeah, if anyone wants a Toyota Orion, it's going to be on the market. But there's some of the bids are massive. Like, what are the biggest prices you've seen Guernsey sell for? I know the Collingwood Guernseys after the grand final went nuts this year. Dusty Martin's has gone for, was it $50,000 or something even more? You know the figures. You're the man.
So Dusty's 2020 sold for $75,000. I think Nick Dacos' this year was $72,000. So crazy money. There's a lot of money in this. There's people that really go off. I don't know how they can afford it. But
on the other end, especially, what's the cheapest Guernsey you bought?
If you're talking player issues, in 2020, that would have been 21. When Lachie Neale won his first Brownlow, his Freo jumper was on Gumtree, and it was listed as a ladies jumper because it was so tight. This bloke had no idea. I got it for $60, and it was probably worth $300, $400.
There's a bit of
absolute steal
flipping, people call it, in the Guernsey market, and we had some questions come through which we'll get to later. But what are your thoughts on the flipping of the Guernseys? There's some people buy. It's a bit like anything with marketplace. You see a lot of people trolling marketplace to find things cheap, restore them, or just sell them for what they're worth.
Taking advantage of people who don't know the proper value of some things, or who just want to get rid of their items. What are your thoughts on the whole flipping?
It's controversial in the Guernsey game, I know that.
It is, because you don't want to upset anyone. You want to keep your connections. A lot of people do buy opposite other clubs, and then they will sell it or maybe trade it for something from their club. I I'm not massive into it, but obviously I do a little bit myself. So within reason, like if you can help out someone who's a collector from another club, that's ideal, because I helped out a Freo guy get a Freo heritage match worn. This year he helped me out getting one of the stealth jumpers. I would have got otherwise.
So you're making friends in the network, and then they sort of, you scratch my back, I'll scratch yours, sort of thing going on.
Yeah.
What are your plans with the collection long term? You're at 500 now. Is there going to be 1,000 in a couple of years' time? Are you going to sell some off? Are you going to do a show, maybe a museum, the Andy Munro Museum? We can come and all look at them, and you can charge a fee and buy more Guernseys. But
yeah, I know, having a big setup in Narracoorte with.
I'd drive down.
I'd drive down. Definitely.
I have seen it in person. It was the first time we met, and I was driving to Melbourne, and we took a bit of detour.
Yeah.
Popped into Naracoorte, and it was ridiculous to say, but it was a pinch me moment, because I got onto TikTok through people sending me Andy's TikToks on Facebook Messenger. So I didn't even have the app. I was like watching them in Safari.
For anyone that has seen Andy's TikToks, it's a very iconic background with all the Guernseys behind, and I could only imagine your eyes lighting up.
It wasn't just one room. It was room after room. It was genuinely like a museum, like an art gallery.
Bedroom as well. I really do need to get a better setup, but it's what I'm working with for now. But
even he took us into his mum's bedroom, and they were all over her wall as well. So
yeah, unfortunately.
Did your mum like waking up and seeing a Wayne Carey match worn and a Boomer Harvey match worn up?
Not really, but she puts up with it.
What players are hot to collect? We're talking about Dusty Martin and Nick Dacos, obviously going for big numbers. What players are hot to collect in the market right now, do you reckon?
Yeah,
current players.
Those guys. Anyone young is always pretty collectible. So Harley Reid's this year, providing, he might not stay at the club eventually, but, his will be worth heaps. It's always those young guys. Someone's trying to get ahead of the pack.
Buy low, sell high.
Exactly.
That's
Yeah, so Nick Dacos, even from the word go, he was massive. So anyone like that.
So rookie player, so probably Harley Reid. We had Nick Dacos. Horn Francis, you reckon?
Yeah.
There's a bit of hype dropped off him from the Victorians after he abandoned North Melbourne. So I don't know.
His poor jumpers were worth a fair bit this year. So.
Do you find Victorian markets stronger, or it doesn't really matter where they come from?
It definitely matters where they come from. It doesn't matter Victorian, it's just the bigger sort of clubs. So it could be West Coast, Adelaide.
Could it be the success they see in the Guernsey? Is that coming to factors as well? So maybe, like you said, the grand final Guernseys are going nuts. If that player wins a Brownlow, maybe wins a flag, has some success, that will drive the price up. I want to move on to the next topic, because we're going to talk about Guernsey a little bit later. We got some questions. They fired in heavy when we asked for questions. The fans, there's a lot of Andy Munro fans that want to know a lot about Andy. So there's going to be quite extensive feedback. Your TikToks, you obviously do the Guernseys, you do a lot of live streaming on collecting, and I'm attached to that. But there was a TikTok series that went massive for you, that blew you up internationally, and that was I hope I pronounced this right. Jabulanis?
Yeah, that's
Jabulani footballs. And I don't know if you remember these, Will, but they were at the 2006 World Cup? 2010 World Cup. And they curved massively.
They were crazy. I remember watching as a kid and wondering how on earth a ball could move that.
Well, being a collector, they obviously resell for massive numbers at the moment. What are they going at for on eBay?
So in decent condition, probably 600. If you get it brand new in the box, it's over $1,000. I was sort of trying to get, so what I did, I got the bad ones that people said, it doesn't pump up, it's got holes in it, whatever. Basically my videos, what I was doing is just putting bike tire sealant in a very particular one, squirting that in the bowl and rolling around a bit, and all of a sudden these Jabulani bowls worth twice the money. So a lot of people are interested in that in Brazil and wherever.
Did a bit of restoring. We did a restoring video for cricket with some cricket bats, and we just bought a heap of cricket bats to restore, which you can probably see on the Marmalade socials. But you restored these Jabulanis up to some value, and the international market ate it up.
Yeah.
What sort of view counts were you seeing on those videos?
So pretty much all the Jabulani videos have 1 million views. There's probably about 3 or 4, but the top one's 25 mil. So it's pretty crazy, and I got a fair amount of followers from that, which was handy.
Did anyone strange reach out? You have any international players or anyone follow you after that?
No players, just some other soccer influencers or TikTokers, and they want to get a few Jabulanis for themselves.
They're hard to buy them off you.
Yeah, pretty much. And I'm like, I don't really want to sell them, because it's hard to find, hard to find now, because it's the match bowls. The match bowls are so spherical. The way they made them is unreal, but it's obviously it was too good, and they nerfed every single soccer ball after that, so you can't get anything like it anymore. So that's why they're so good.
It's also Andy Munro issued, so if he's giving it away, it's got to come at a bit more of a price.
25 million views, so the price has to get jacked up. It's like Dusty Martin playing in front of 100,000. You know, price gets jacked up on the
Exactly.
Guernsey. The boy from Naracoorte making international waves, making waves all around Australia. You live in Naracoorte, and I have been to the house, but you work on a farm.
Yeah.
And you're on social media, which I think is a crazy thing. We live in the city of Melbourne, and we've moved to Melbourne to get into the city. You're out here getting 25 million views on a farm. How's it been making content out in the sticks or out in the middle of, you know, Australia?
Yeah, it's a little bit different. I don't really do collabs or anything. It's all about just work myself. But yeah, I don't know. I don't really show much about the farm. I like to use social media to get away from it. It's just work for me, you know. It's not a particular passion or anything. It's just normal to me living on a farm. So coming to the city like this is all new to me. But still really enjoy it. But yeah, it is a little bit different, and I do like standing out a little bit. That's sort of like why I do a lot of country footy stuff as well, because I can relate to it.
We had you come down to gather around, and you came and stayed with us for the week, and we went to a lot of footy. And you're obviously in Melbourne at the moment. Wow, we've got you on the pod, going to the Big Bash and the MCG. How often do you get to the cities? How often do you get to the cities per year, you reckon, to go watch footy or cricket?
Yeah, usually once or twice a year. It depends on like what's happening on the farm. So if you in winter, like during footy season, it's a bit hard because I also play local soccer as well, so that keeps me busy. But you know, we got the sheep lambing, and I have to make sure they're all safe and, you know, healthy and whatnot. And in the summer, it's not so bad now, but you got to keep the animals fed, and it just keeps me busy. So it's a little bit hard to get away sometimes. You don't get holidays, so. But anyway, you put up with it for the lifestyle. It's really nice on the farm.
Sounds a little bit similar to me and you, Will, when we have to keep Srey fed, make sure he's, you know, waking up before midday. But, you know, it's crazy because I think I went to 100 plus AFL games, and you're saying you get to the city once a year, but you're still managing to make so much content, and you found a good niche, I guess, where you can get away with it.
Which is what we love to see. We love seeing Andy Munro content.
I have put down that you live in Narracoorte. I've only clicked in my brain recently Friday Mail Day, which is a content saga of yours. Does that relate to you having to go to the post office to pick up your mail?
Yeah, so I only do get mail a few times a week. So that's why it always seems to arrive on a Friday, because nothing's going to arrive on a Monday, because that's the weekend. There's nothing getting delivered. So I usually get a massive mail day on Friday. So the people at the post office do know me quite well.
Picking up 500 Guernseys from them.
Yeah, and I'm selling a fair bit as well. So, but it's good. Keep them busy.
How long would a drive from your place to the post office be?
Well, I'm lucky because we get our mail delivered near our place.
Oh,
but it's about 25 minutes into town, so yeah, it's a bit handy. I don't have to travel too much to get my jumpers.
Yeah.
You also collect local player Guernseys. That's another saga of yours. So we've got Friday Mail Day, but you've been collecting players from that Mount Gambier. What's the regions that you've got around you?
Yeah, so Southeast, South Australia, or the Limestone Coast as it's branded. But yeah, basically the three leagues. So there's KNTFL, Mid-Southeast, and Western Border Football League. So pretty much anyone that got drafted from those three leagues. So we're talking like Jordan Dawson, Lockie Neal, Jack Redden, all those sort of guys.
On the other end of the spectrum, like Rory Taggart, who are some of the lower names that probably... Nathan Stark,
who was on Melbourne's rookie list.
I went to school with
in
Nathan Stark.
Yeah.
He didn't play a single game, but Andy's got his Guernsey.
The more you know. The more you know.
Have you found it hard to find some of those rookies? There's only a couple existing.
The rookies are hardest to get. There was a guy, Josh Willoughby, I had to DM in to get his jumper. He's from Bordertown. He was on the Swans list when they won the flag in 2005. But it's so hard to find these random players. It's almost easy to get an Adam Goods.
Yeah.
You just have to pay up for it. But yeah, I have had to reach out a few times. And luckily they helped me out because they sort of see it as a cool idea.
Absolutely.
The old footy ground saga is one of the more recent ones that's gone viral. We saw you in Ballarat, and we went down there to watch the AFLW with you, and you'd done a few grounds just then. That was when it kicked off. You've been going around to abandoned footy grounds or grounds that used to hold... What was the one today? We went to Vic Park because they used to have VFL and
Vic Park and Glenferrie
Oval. So you're in Melbourne, you're going to go to a few more. What's the go behind these? They're going viral as well. Everything Eddie touches is going viral, which is crazy.
Not quite. It has been handy to reach a different audience with these videos. But I just like going to the old grounds because living in the country, you don't really see a lot of yourself represented in media. Apart from the local newspaper, you can't really relate to much. And I went to a few local footy grand finals and being a little bit inspired by yourselves, making local footy content. I thought, I'll go to these grand finals, and I realised I went to the Horsham District grand final. Everyone from Horsham watched the video. So I thought if I make more videos about local footy, people from the areas will watch it and hopefully learn a bit about it as well.
The thing I love about the footy ground content is it's still like in your wheelhouse of like vintage and like throwback stuff.
Nostalgic to those people, those area.
But as well as that, you're going into like grassroots footy and like all the almost a different market,
like local communities. So you're widening your audience in that way by probably hitting CBD of Melbourne, CBD of Adelaide when you do AFL content, but by doing country footy, you've stretched it all the way in between. So he's known all the way down the, what do they call it, Princess Highway?
Yeah, all the way down the M1.
What's the best ground you've been to so far?
I went to this place in southwest Victoria, Bessybell. There were cattle on there, so the ground was had
on
massive,
the oval.
No, they weren't there at the time, I should say, but there were massive holes in the ground, so I could pretty much every step you'd roll your ankle. And they knocked over some of the posts around the ground. But
how long since they played footy on that ground?
That was in '98. So luckily enough, the change room was still there. You could go in, and whenever you go to an abandoned change room, there's a heap of birds in there. So they all flew out, and there was 2 statues in there, crazy enough.
I remember seeing this on TikTok. It was quite freaky. I would have shut my pants.
What I didn't say in the video, right, is that someone stole those statues at one stage.
Oh, no.
The statue was placed outside the ground, and someone got a chain, drove it off down the road, but the chain must have fell off, left this massive statue on the road, because this is in milk area. There's a lot of dairy farms. A milk truck went through, ran over it, and had a massive crash.
Oh, shit.
So they've moved it back into the change room. They didn't just decide to get rid of it. They just put it back in the change room for someone else to wheel. Well, hopefully now you've said on the pod, no one goes down there with a chain and tries to wheel it out.
Don't do it.
Don't do it.
They're like 500 kilos.
Because I like my chalky milk, and if you make a milk truck crash,
boy, I'm not going to be happy.
Is that one of the rarest things you've seen? There's been some crazy collectible, like nostalgic stuff. We're at Vic Park today, and we saw a heap of rubbish and stuff, maybe because we're in a suburban area, but at the country grounds there's a lot of old signage and maybe some old trophies or plaques around the club. What's been some of the rarest things you've seen?
I like going to Yarpeet, which is a place in like the Mallee, Victorian Mallee, and they had a room there with all the history of the club. It was really cool to see. Like, I love history, so it's cool to see them look after the history and that. Also liked so there was a place called Douglas Harrow Major Lake. I went there and I spoke to this old lady who I thought owned this footy ground behind her. She said, "Oh yeah, go in there." So I went in there, and then this old couple walked out and said, "What are you doing here? This is private land." I'm just looking at the footy ground. Oh yeah, that's all right. Go have a look. So I had a look, and they moved all their livestock out the way because they put them on the ground. So that's where their livestock eat now. But yeah, I had a look at the scoreboard there and the old change rooms and that.
So they live on the footy ground. Is that they own the footy ground?
Yeah, they own it. They lease it out because they may as well lease it, because they said they didn't used to lease it, and then it just was going to waste. They may as well have it and get their livestock on it. So yeah,
cows were just doing lane kicking out on the ground.
Imagine buying a footy ground.
That'd be unreal.
Got my brain ticking now for things to do when I'm 40.
Imagine that.
Which is like next week.
DJ Checkers Oval.
I've got a lot of space on the farm.
Yeah, we can build a footy oval at Andy's place.
Here we go. Now we're cooking
and
with
we can play some Div 12 Ressies there. There's one place I used to go ages ago, and it was called, I might dox myself a little bit here, and hopefully the cops don't come knocking on my door, but when they knocked down Footy Park, it was like they didn't play footy there for a couple of years. Then they knocked it down for land now, so it's obviously got a heap of housing on it in Adelaide, West Lakes, where the Crows played, and all through the 90s. For some reason, they left the keys in the door one night, and I was at Max Bashir Reserve having a kick of the footy. They've left the master key in the door at Footy Park. So we've gone, let's go and have a kick on the surface of Amy Stadium. And then we've realised all the doors are open inside Footy Park, so we gave ourselves a bit of a tour. No one's been in there for years. And like you said, we went up to the corporate boxes, and there was about 500 birds flew past. I almost died. I was like cowering in the corner as birds just fly past me, covered in shit. Got in the corporate boxes, and there was still like cutlery, everything set out. There was footy records from the early like 2010 or whenever, 2012 was the last game, just still 13. Set out as if it was like game day, but it was covered in bird shit, everything. Is that would be assumed as like what Andy's going through. I don't know if you get sick doing this stuff, but there's I get stuck watching a lot of people going through haunted places or old mansions and stuff, and the same stuff. A lot of bird poo, a lot of obstacles. I guess you got a lot of cow dung to get through, but that's my little story of going through old footy grounds. It wasn't really that old. It had only been shut down for 3 years.
It doesn't take that long though for it to look like that though.
It's crazy. Yeah. You said the last gameplay was in the late 90s. It was only 25 years ago, but if there's already cows on the oval, no goalposts, change rooms disintegrating, like No
The old-
upkeep. You'd think someone would still be trundling around there for a bit of a kick every now and then.
Yeah.
The old Freo ground, I can't remember its name, the one that Freo and West Coast used to play
Subiaco.
at. Yeah, Subiaco. After like 2 years, 3 years, that looked like a haunted stadium. Like it was, because no one's obviously taking any care of it. It just looked.
A lot of squatters come in. And have you
Yeah.
been worried about that? Squatters maybe.
In Ballarat, there was one of the ovals I went to. Strangely enough, a few days later, they kicked him out. So,
You brought attention to him being there on your TikTok, did you?
I'm not sure it was me, but yeah.
Oh, it's fantastic to hear. We have a large amount of questions that have come through. We put you up on the story, and all your big fans have nailed in. So we're going to get back into those feedback, listen to questions. So I think we should just get stuck in.
Let's get into it. We've asked our questions, so now we're going to ask the fans' questions to you, Andy. Starting off with Nick Arnold 7, sorry. The D looked like a 2. Money not an issue. What is the dream player issue or match on Guernsey you want?
I know Andrew McLeod has his 1997 match worn from the grand final, but I would like to take that one if I could.
Well, money's not an issue, so we can throw him a couple million for that one.
Yeah. That would be the ideal one, I reckon. Being a massive Crows fan, the Norm Smith in the first ever flag, that'd be unreal.
And yeah, he was very hot at that time, back-to-back Norm Smiths.
Absolutely.
Sam Crispino, what is the best still you have got for a Guernsey? I think we brought it up earlier in the podcast.
Would it
The
be the
Lockie
Lachie
Neal
Neal
Guernsey.
Guernsey?
Maybe give us another
Yeah.
still that you've got.
I once got a Collingwood CFA jumper, so they just had a logo on their CFA logo, and I got it for $20, and I ended up selling that for $200. So not a massive turnaround, but I haven't found many jumpers for $20 apart from at an op shop, so that was pretty good.
Profit. Don't mind it. We've got M's Kate 13. What was the first Guernsey you ever got in your collection?
Yeah, so Lachie Neal just moved because Lachie Neal was from my town, and we both played for Kaiby by Light. He's a few years older than me, so I didn't play much with him. But yeah, I got his jumper just when he left Freo for $100. So it was pretty decent looking back.
Especially after he won his Brown. When they win the Brownlow the week after, those
Yeah.
prices get inflated.
Yeah.
Those prices would have
If
been
you're ever going to
nuts.
flip, that's a good time to flip. But we won't say that too much because we might upset some people. Sydney _ jumpers _ has asked 2 questions, and I've put them both in because I thought they were valid. How do you store your Guernseys?
Yeah, so I just have racks from Kmart or whatever. Do have a heap up on the wall, so they're just on the command hooks. But yeah, just hangers. Luckily, my uncle and auntie, they welded me a massive frame to put jumpers on, so I can fit about 200 on there. And they're going to give me that for Christmas as well, hopefully this year, because I do need another one.
And we asked a little bit earlier, but what are your thoughts on people flipping Guernseys? So I guess we've already answered that one.
Yeah.
I jumped his question for him because I wanted to know it myself.
So Finn Huffer 13. What is your favourite Guernsey you have in your collection?
Yeah, so I have a 2009. We're speaking about Andrew McLeod. I got his Clash jumper from 2009. My favourite design. Probably one of my favourite players as well, obviously being a legend of the Crows. The Crows' best player, actually. But yeah, that one being my top one.
Was that when he kicked the goal from the boundary?
That was 2005.
The footy knowledge on this man is crazy.
Yeah.
He will correct you and you'll be right.
Question from Milk Boy Finn. And I think he's pretty keen because I actually gave him his first player issue a few weeks ago. If someone wants to start collecting Guernseys, where should they start?
Yeah, so definitely follow the collectors at the club you're interested in. Don't hassle them. Don't DM them stupid prices, but just follow them. Maybe ask them a few simple questions or like how they get their jump. Often most collectors will sell some on their social media as well. So there's heaps on Instagram. Join the Facebook groups. Just learn about it until you get stuck into it, because there's no point spending money on something you're not really knowledgeable about just yet. So I would just say follow it for a little bit and then get stuck in.
You quite often do sales of like retail Guernseys on your socials, don't you?
Yeah, so I often chuck a few up, so that's an easy way to get some as well.
Absolutely. The last question we've got here is from Saxon Souness. Favourite old footy ground you have been to?
Yeah, so I mentioned Bessie Bell before, but that was really cool. And that video, probably no one cares about views, but that one had 200k views, my most successful footy video ever. So I was really happy with that one, I reckon.
Very nice, very nice. That's all the questions from.
We pumped through them actually because I think we actually asked quite a lot of those questions
Yeah,
ourselves.
we've flown through them
early in the episode.
We
Now
were just keen to know more.
it is time for Checkers Checkout, but this week we're taking a little twist. It's not going to be on the Spotify edition. You're going to have to jump across to YouTube. Follow the YouTube. Go chuck it a follow, and you can watch this edition of Checkers Checkout. It's going to be a very visual edition. So make sure you jump in. Ressies Podcast on YouTube. You can watch all the podcasts. You can see the wonderful gather round shirt that Andy's wearing right now.
The O'Neill's beautiful. That's this year?
This year's warm-ups, yeah. So they're going to wear it this year.
Looks beautiful. Checkers, you're in your 98 kit. Yeah.
Well, I knew he was a Crows fan, so I thought I'd better put my Crows merch on.
Very
I got
nice.
my 90, is it 98 hat?
98
Yeah,
hat.
And 98 shirt. So
Matching.
97 was when they beat St Kilda, so I wouldn't wear those. But Checkers Checkout time. Let's get into it. All right, yes, time for the internationally famous in Narracoorte. Has it made its way to Narracoorte yet, Andy?
I think a few people listen.
To Checkers Checkout?
Oh, maybe.
I was hoping for him to play along with it. Normally people play along with me. It's probably the least viewed, liked segment ever on the podcast. But today we're doing something a little bit different. Normally it's foods, and I get everyone in the studio to try it out. Andy, you're the guru of jumpers. So I've gone through my collection. I have a plastic bag underneath me. And I've got 5 Guernseys in here. I'm going to toss you them, and I want you to tell me everything you know about them as quick as you can.
Yep, sweet.
It's a little game we're going to play for Checkers Checkout. I'm going to
time you as well.
Well, I think I want to hear everything he's got to say, though. I don't.
Yeah, no, there's no pressure. All
right,
I'm just
first Guernsey. You ready? I'm going to toss it to you, and I want you to tell me everything you know about it.
Yeah. Right, we got a Bulldogs jumper here. It is a lease plan Deodora. So Deodora, they said they made the jumpers. It was actually made by Seacom. Size medium, number 19. Was that Sean Higgins?
He's on the money here.
Sean Higgins. It's got the lease plan on it, but it has got the GPS pocket. So Bulldogs were the first club with GPS pockets. So it's a little bit earlier than what I probably think it is. I'm going to say like 2008, maybe. Something like that.
Perfect.
31 seconds.
That's very good, insightful info there.
Told you everything you know about the jumper in 31 seconds.
All right, you ready for the next jumper?
Yep. Oh, Port. Okay, Port. Wow, the Macron jumpers. Don't want to hate on Macron, but they're crap. Iron-on number. That's why they're crap. Also the material. But anyway, what are we? Size large. No GPS pocket. That's weird. They must have worn the vest. Bit of stain on there. That's handy. 7, is that Dersma, is it?
That is
yeah,
Dersma.
Dersma. There we go.
So no GPS pocket, but you do reckon it is training issue?
So training worn, I should say. Training jumper. Probably from 2021, I would say.
Very smooth. All right, ready for the next Guernsey?
I cut that a bit short, but it was 24 seconds, that one. So around about 30 seconds again. This man is on fire.
He is on fire. I'm learning a lot about these Guernseys. All right, next Guernsey. Let's go.
Right. Giants, maybe? Yes, Giants. ISC, it would be a 2014 because of the Giants logo. If it had a little man, it would be 2013. This template was used for a couple of years. These little triangles here, if they're worn away, they usually go away with wear, but there is wear to this tag, which usually would say long. So it would be match worn. Number 34 is that Christian Jacks.
He's on the money again.
Christian Jacks, there we go.
So you reckon it was Christian Jacks Guernsey? It's signed by the team on the front as well, which
Signed
I've seen a few players in their first year. I know Josh Growden has his Guernsey signed by the team, and they sort of like were a collector's thing. In the very first couple of years at the Giants, they'd get the rest of the team to sign their Guernseys as a bit of a keepsake. So
Oh, yeah.
that was my ideas on it. That's all I had. I didn't know anything about the ISC patches or.
Yeah, no, that's good. It's a good one, that one.
That was 24 seconds again. This man is just...
All right, we're ramping it up here. I've got a very special Guernsey that I think Andy's going to get excited for.
Here we go.
Let's go.
This could be the best one of the lot.
Wow, okay, we got a Crows here. Jeez.
I think I know this one.
Wayne Carey, number 2. That's so weird. So Wayne Carey, I remember him playing for the Crows. I thought he was crap, but apparently he was really good, and he was. But yeah, Wayne Carey from, it'd have to be 2004, his last season, because he played 2003-4. The Russell Athletic ones from 2003 were within the collar. So the 2004 had the wishbone collar with the Russell Athletic below it, and it's obviously the away design.
Perfect. So he was injured in 2004. Do you reckon he didn't play in these? It was more a player issue?
Tricky thing with them is that Russell Athletic did make a few player issue retails of him.
Because he was such a big name.
Yeah, and some clubs have done this, and people get tricked saying, "Oh, it's a player issue." It's a bit hard to know. I don't know his exact size, so
It's true. It is a big Guernsey,
yeah, it would be
extra large, but he might even been bigger than that. He's taller than me.
Yeah, so
All right,
bit of a tricky one, but still good.
see if we can fool him on one. He's been pretty good so far, so I brought one that I thought might fool him. Let's go.
Wow, okay, Lions, Majestic, with the no logo here, no sponsor logo. What do we got? 25 on the back. So 25 would be McStay, but 25 was often used for prototypes as well.
Oh, you
So-
can't
He's
fool
too
this
good.
man.
He's
You
too
can't
good.
fool this man.
It's not necessarily Dan McStay. I think it was just a prototype one. Obviously, they didn't get the sponsor ready yet. The Lions were a little bit disorganised, maybe, or they struggled to get sponsors at that stage because Hyundai was on the back of this at one stage and they took it off. But yeah, for year, it's a bit more recent. I would say like 2020, maybe 2019. Something
So would
like
that be one that they get for photo shoots? Would that be one they get to use for trying to attach a sponsor or get some visual sort of
Yeah,
representations?
just having a look at what the jumper would look like in person, I would say. The collar is a little bit weird as well. I don't
It's
know.
a bit
if
like a
that's-
women's Guernsey, the collar.
Yeah, it is like the cotton on sort of style. I don't know if that classic Majestic actually went on with that. So bit of an interesting one there.
I've got one more specialty then. We said we'd do 5, but I did bring a 6th in case we stumbled on any. So I might as well just get it out of the bag. He's been crazy today. This is one of the best. I mean, it's not really a checkout, but it's been one of the best segments I've ever seen. I've just not seeing this man's knowledge. Last Guernsey. See what you got on
Okay,
it.
we got the black and white here. Anzac Day. It does say the year 2005. Long sleeve, which is nice. I really like these Adidas jumpers because they're actually made in Australia. They're good quality ones. Is that Wakeland?
Is on the money again.
Yeah, so nice. Don't know if he wore the long sleeve. I can't see too much stain. Maybe he did. Definitely have to go back and check. There is stain on the number here, so I would say maybe match.
Maybe you have to go back and watch the footage of the game.
Go back on YouTube. It might be photos, but YouTube's usually the go. But yeah, really nice these ones. I think they only just started having the logo on there around about that time too. So nowadays the Anzac designs are crazy. This was a little bit more subtle, little bit more traditional.
This is incredible. This is crazy. I've seen it firsthand. What we did at Gather Round was we found out Andy had this special talent for Guernsey, so we sent him around stadiums. People were wearing player shoes or match worn Guernsey without knowing they were.
Yeah, Gather Round was like shopping for me.
Yeah.
He had a wallet full of cash and he was going around. That is a 2016, whatever. That is a 2012, whatever. And he just knew. And he knows all the details just from look. And you buy any Guernseys during Gather Round?
Yeah, I did get one. I got a Chris Johnson 97 training worn. Because I got the Brad Scott version, which was the gold. This was the maroon one, so really cool to get the double there. But yeah, I knew it straight away as soon as I saw it. This guy in bloody Mount Barker had it. I couldn't believe it. He didn't know what it was. It was his mum's. Usually it's like some kid wearing their parents' jumper. So
First time he came to Adelaide, and we were on the hill, and then I turned around and someone said, "We've lost Andy." And then at the end of the game, someone came up to me and said, Andy Munro has bought someone's Guernsey off their back in the crowd, and I have footage of it. And about 4 seconds later, he walks around the corner holding a Peter Burgoyne long sleeve.
Yeah.
For good reason.
It's a good snare.
That's a good snag.
Is it something you do regularly? I mean, you don't go to a lot of games, but when you go to games, how often do you pick up some Guernseys?
It's a little bit hard to watch the game because I'm looking at everyone's jumper.
It was hard for me to watch the game at Mount Barker because I was just watching Andy, and Andy's just going, match on, player issue. That one's a match on, 97. I'm like, I'm more interested in this. Like, stuff gather around. I'm watching Andy.
Incredible stuff. Incredible to see that segment live.
Master of the trade.
Yeah, we'll wrap up the podcast now. That's crazy. Good stuff. Well done, Andy.
Yes.
Thank you.
Beautiful, Andy. Hey, just before we wrap things up, we've had a bit of a fun week, would you say? Pretty.
We say this every week on the pod, Andy. It gets to the time we review the week and he either goes, we've had a really busy week, like nine times out of 10, and if he looks at me and knows I'm about to nail him for this, he goes, we've had a fun week.
I wasn't going to say busy, but now that you've pulled me up on it, I was changing it to fun.
The best thing we did was play T20 cricket, but we didn't play it very well, so it wasn't really the best.
It was still a fun little night out. Jarrah played with us. Jarrah's behind the
producer. Jarrah's in the office right now. He's sitting there doing some Fred again, boiler room
still
stuff.
shaking his head at the umpire who gave him out when there was two noises when he was
He's getting
playing.
infuriated right now, actually. He's gone red.
He's getting angry. Whoa, Jared, don't throw that at me. Far out. Jeez.
We went to the Big Bash last night as well, and they got on for once. Andy, how was it? How often have you been to the MCG?
I haven't been there for like 10, 12 years, so it was a bit fresh to me, but yeah, first Big Bash game there. It was pretty cool. It's a good, really good atmosphere for the kids. And
the weather was quite yucky during the day. It was 35 degrees, overcast, and it was a Wednesday. So the crowd was probably not what they normally would get for the Big Bash.
A lot of patchy rain, and you say luckily they got on because the weekend leading into it, there was just no cricket.
No, everything got washed out. And then once we got home, thunderstorms hit. I could hear it hitting the roof as I tried to go to sleep. But yeah, MCG, you're going to come back? Are we going to see you back in Melbourne sometime soon?
I'd love to come back for a massive footy game. I've never been to one here before, and everyone raves about the MCG. Oh, what's the best? I reckon Adelaide Oval's better so far, but I'll be proven otherwise.
Yeah, Adelaide Oval Hill's pretty good.
I think Andy needs to come down to a Carlton-Collingwood game Sunday afternoon.
Or a Crows game, even.
Or a Crows game.
Controversially, should they hold a showdown at the MCG?
But all I'm saying is, a Carlton-Collingwood game, the atmosphere you get... This is coming from a Western Bulldogs fan. The atmosphere at those games is nuts. And I think you need to be there for that at the G.
Yeah.
It'll be rocking.
Just for a bit of clarity, last time there was a Carlton-Collingwood game, there was an even bigger game on the same night, the Div 12 Ressies game. And we were actually getting sent videos of people at the Carlton-Collingwood game on their phone watching Will Taylor miss a goal from 30 out.
Yeah, that's not good.
Good time to clip that one into the YouTube video.
I'm not clipping that in.
What's your plans, Andy? You're heading back to Naracoorte. You got much coming up? Soccer pre-season?
Soccer pre-season. Hopefully playing Australia Cup again, so we'll see how we go. Might get a game in Adelaide.
Does that get televised?
Maybe.
Streamed?
It might get streamed. We'll see how we go.
We have to get across to Narracoorte to watch him play. We've been meaning to do it for ages. Last time we were coming through Narracoorte, we were coming back from the Ressies game and we were broken bodies. So we couldn't swing into your game, unfortunately.
Shell of a man,
We were a shell of humans because it was the longest week. Not the longest week, it was just a busy, intense weekend. But we'll have to come out to Narracoorte and watch. No Srey to do the outro this week.
No Srey at all, so looks like I'll have to take the reins again for this one.
Every week before Srey does the outro, we got to butt in and say thank you so much, Andy, for coming on the podcast.
Absolutely.
Great episode. It was really knowledgeable as well. I knew most of his stuff because I watch his TikToks religiously, but
I would like to thank him again.
Go check his socials out. Jump in a live stream. If you've got any questions, he live streams a fair bit, so you can usually buzz him and find out the info you want.
Yeah, for sure. Jump on Munro Jumpers on Instagram or TikTok, Andy Munro. But yeah, awesome having me. Thanks.
No dramas.
Look forward to the museum exhibition.
Thanks again for listening, guys. Make sure you follow the podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, and anywhere where you get your podcasts. Rate it 5 stars on Spotify as well. Leave a little review. On YouTube, make sure you subscribe, like, share with a friend, share with your mum, share with your dad, share with your neighbour down the road, and we'll see you in the next episode.